All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're taking a deep, deep dive into the mind of one of literature's most fascinating and, frankly, terrifying characters. We're talking about Lady Macbeth. Our goal? To diagnose her complete psychological collapse. I mean, how does the absolute mastermind of a royal assassination just crumble? Let's put her on the operating table and find out.
So, here's the big question, right? This was an iron-willed woman. I mean, think about it. This is the same person who called on evil spirits to unsex her, who basically goaded her husband into murder. She seemed completely ruthless. So why is she falling apart now? What happened? That's the mystery we're unraveling today.
And you know, the best place to start is with her own words. The change is, well, it's staggering. Early on, after the murder, she's so dismissive, so confident. A little water clears us of this deed. Easy. But now, it's all the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Whoa. That's a complete 180. And that journey from there to here, that's our whole story. Okay, so for our first piece of the investigation, we're not just going to look at her directly. Instead, we're going to see her through the eyes of the people who are right there with her, day in and day out. Her attendants. They're the ones who see her strange, frankly disturbing new behavior up close. So let's set the scene. Think of it like a medical observation. The patient, Lady Macbeth, the Queen of Scotland, who is, well, she's a shadow of her former self. The observers are a doctor and a gentlewoman. There are key witnesses here. And where is all this happening? Dunsinane Castle, in the middle of the night. The perfect, spooky setting for some dark secrets to come out. All right, so what are the first clues these witnesses notice? Well, for starters, she's sleepwalking. But get this, her eyes are wide open. Creepy, right? She's also carrying a candle with her everywhere, constantly. And then there's the big one. She's obsessively rubbing her hands together like she's trying to wash something off that isn't there. Okay, quick literary term sidebar here, because it's super important for this scene. The term is motif. Basically, it's a recurring image or idea that helps build up a theme. In this scene, you absolutely have to watch for three big ones: light versus darkness, blood, and sleep. Think of them as clues Shakespeare is leaving for us. They're the language her guilty conscience is using to speak. All right, so now let's zoom in on our observers, the doctor and the gentlewoman. Their reaction is so important here because it tells us that what they're seeing isn't just a little odd. No, it's something deeply, deeply wrong. It's unnatural, and honestly, it's scaring them. And listen to this from the gentlewoman. She says, it is an accustomed action with her to seem thus washing her hands. She's even seen her do it for a quarter of an hour straight. This tells us this isn't just some random bad dream. It's a habit, a ritual. It's her mental agony playing out physically, over and over again. And this is a really fascinating shift for the doctor. You see, he came here expecting to treat some kind of, physical illness. But as he listens, he realizes what he's hearing isn't a symptom. It's a confession. He literally says he needs to write down what she says. He's not a doctor anymore. He's becoming a witness, documenting a crime. Okay, now we get to the absolute heart of it. We're about to listen in as Lady Macbeth's mind completely unravels. All those buried memories of murder, they're bubbling up to the surface in these broken, terrifying fragments. And it starts with maybe the most famous line she ever speaks. Out, damn spot! Out, I say! It's just chilling. She's literally talking to the guilt, to the bloodstain that only she can see. So let's really break that line down. The spot is obviously the blood she imagines is on her hands. But there's another layer here. For Shakespeare's audience, a spot could also mean the mark of the devil, a sign that you're damned. And the way she keeps repeating herself, out, I say, it just shows how fractured and obsessive her thoughts have become. And her confession just keeps tumbling out. She gets more specific. It's not just a spot anymore. Listen to this. Yet who would have thought the old man to have had so much blood in him? She's talking directly about King Duncan. This is a perfect example of what we call hyperbole. It's a massive exaggeration, and it's so powerful here. Obviously, she doesn't think Duncan literally had that much blood. What she's saying is that the guilt from that one murder feels endless. It's like a river of blood that she's drowning in. But it doesn't even stop with Duncan. Her mind is jumping from one crime to the next. Suddenly, she's talking about the slaughter of Macduff's family. The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? It's like a highlight reel of all their worst deeds. You see, it's not just about that first crime anymore. Her guilt is piling up, one body after another. First, it was King Duncan. Then it was Banquo. And now, the brutal murder of Macduff's innocent wife and children. It's the whole bloody trail that's come back to haunt her.
So, after hearing all of this, all these fragmented confessions, what's the doctor's final diagnosis? What does he make of it all? Well, the doctor's conclusion really says everything you need to know. He says, this disease is beyond my praxis. He knows this isn't something he can fix with medicine. He says her heart is sorely charged. He's basically saying, this woman needs a priest, not me. It's a sickness of the soul.
And if you think about it, all her symptoms point to something beyond the physical. She's having supernatural visions, seeing blood that isn't there. She's using religious imagery, talking about a murky hell. She's even having what we'd call olfactory hallucinations. She thinks she can smell the blood, and that all the perfumes of Arabia can't cover it up. Her guilt is literally attacking every single one of her senses.
You have to remember, for Shakespeare's original audience, this would have been absolutely bone-chilling. This isn't just a mental breakdown. To them, this would look like a form of demonic possession. Guilt itself has become this supernatural force that has taken her over, and it's dragging her soul straight to that murky hell she's so terrified of.
And that brings us to our final conclusion, the last chilling verdict in this whole investigation. And it's one that's not just about her, but it's also a kind of warning for everyone.
Her final line in the scene pretty much sums up her entire tragedy. What's done cannot be undone. It's so simple and so devastating. It's her finally admitting that there's no way out. There's no cure for what she's done.
And look at this. It really shows the complete flip, doesn't it? Back in Act 2, her strength was at 100, and her guilt was, what, maybe a 10? Now, in Act 5, those numbers have totally reversed. Her strength is gone, and her guilt is off the charts. It's like all that initial power she had has been eaten away and replaced by a guilt so massive it just shattered her mind.
So we're left with this final question to chew on. Remember, Shakespeare was writing this play at a time when killing a king was seen as a crime against God himself. So if this whole play is a warning to the audience, then what does Lady Macbeth's horrifying fate really say about the true cost of ambition? What happens when you're willing to do anything to get what you want? What's the real price you pay?